What's up, everybody? So this chapter of One Piece covered a lot, I think, very, very fast. I don't think it's rushed, but I do think it's it's compacted. Like, the information is just given to us, like, in every single page. It's like, whoa, 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 like, this is a change in pacing, absolutely, when you compare it to the last chapters that we've gotten thus far. And I think for me, the main thing that I got from this chapter, or the main question that is raised from this chapter is, what do you guys think of the Vinsmokes now? And when I say the Vinsmokes, I don't really mean Judge, Reiju, and Sanji. I mean the brothers, the three brothers, Ichiji, Nichi, and Yonji. What do you think of them? Because when I was reading Reiju's explanation about why Sanji is the way that he is, I was like, wait, what the fuck is going on? Okay, let's backtrack. I knew for a fact that with the revelation that Pudding was evil and maniacal, Oda was trying, I think that had the effect of, at least when it comes to me, in my opinion, it did kind of get me thinking about, okay, well, this is kind of like getting me to warm up to the brothers a little bit. And this chapter, in all honesty, kind of had a similar effect in my mind, because it seemed as if Reiju didn't say it this way, but in a way, what I got from it was the fact that Reiju was kind of saying, hey, Sanji, the reason why you were able to keep your emotions was because of luck. You lucked out. Like, Mom had 4 children, well, she had 5 if you count Reiju. Reiju she's number 0, which, I mean, that's one of the things that I was kind of like, weirded out. I was like, wait, why does Reiju have her emotions intact? And it's because, well, she's not, like, she wasn't part of the same, I guess, litter. I guess she didn't come out with the brothers. She was already alive. She's the first sister. She's number 0. Rei means 0, whatever. Now, when she says, oh, Mom took a drug to stop the effects of her kids being emotionless, but it only worked on you. Pretty much that's what she's saying. Sanji, you got lucky and you were able to preserve your emotions. The other 3 didn't have a fucking choice. It's not like, okay, yes, they're assholes. Yes, they've done some horrible things. Reiju even says they're murderers. But think about it from this perspective. Imagine your dad says, hey, I want all my kids to be born with blue eyes, okay? And your mom says, no, fuck that shit. I don't want that. I don't want that. So she takes a drug, and all of a sudden your mom gives birth to 4 children, yourself included, and you were born with blue eyes, but you have one brother that was born with green eyes. Like, does that necessarily like, you did not have a choice to be born this way. Like, the Vinsmokes, the bros didn't have a fucking choice. And I know you're going to say, well, it's not the same thing because we're talking about moral choices down the line. Like, kids grow up and eventually they have to know what's right and what's wrong. And the Vinsmokes have been doing a lot of wrong shit. But let me tell you something. This was a study. I think it was done in the 1960s. It's called the Bobo doll experiment. And basically what they did was that they took kids, all right, they put them in the room and they had them watch their parents beat the shit out of a plastic doll in one room. Then they took the parents out of that room and they put the kids in that same exact room with the Bobo doll. And guess what the kids did? They beat the shit out of the doll just like their parents. Why? Because for the most part, we as kids, we learn from what we see, not from what we are told. And so I'm not justifying the Vinsmokes, but I'm saying, hey, if you grew up the way that the Vinsmokes grew up, and we know that they were basically raised in this very harsh military environment, because that's all Judge cared about. Judge viewed his children as militaristic tools from the very start. So my question is this: imagine you're born without emotions, you're a clean slate, and you're raised up in a very harsh boot camp, and then you grow up to be a fucking asshole, a violent person. Is it really all them? I mean, is it really about them being evil versus them? They were just unlucky. They didn't have their emotions. They can't feel empathy. Of course they're gonna fucking be violent if that's all they've seen. Not only that, but in this chapter, Reiju specifically states that she cannot disobey Judge's orders. So their free will has been compromised too? What the fuck? Their emotions have been compromised, and so has their oh man, I guess the biggest question here is, why the fuck did Sola, Sanji's mom, marry Judge in the first place? That's fucked up. So Sanji was able to keep his emotions intact, and that's also one of the reasons, or the main reason, why he didn't have any special powers growing up as a kid, because the drug worked. But that's the point that I'm trying to make, is that the reason why Sanji, in part, is the way that he is, not 100%, but a big chunk of why Sanji is who he is because of a gamble that the mom took. The mom took a drug, and it just so happened that it worked on fetus number 3. But in an alternate reality, it could have worked on fetus number 1, fetus number 2, fetus number 4. And we also find out that Reiju switched the exploding cuffs with fake ones, so Sanji is off the hook. But I have to be honest, when I first read that, I was like, this sounds super convenient. I honestly thought you should have told him this earlier. Like when you were helping him with the mask to sort of mask his injuries, that's when she should have told him. But I think the reason why she didn't was because I think in that room there were homies. I think this is the very first room that I've seen in Big Mom's castle that is just, it doesn't have any homies or any faces on the walls that like are smiling or fucking creepy and can talk, with the exception of the pawn that gets tied up in the beginning of the chapter. Now, another thing that I want to mention is that the basket, you see the food basket that Sanji made for Pudding, it's still there. And I guarantee, I've been saying this over and over again, that basket, that meal is going to go to Luffy. And in this chapter, it's even more obvious because Luffy literally says, I'm very hungry. I need some food to be able to get stronger and just beat the shit out of all these people here. So that's going to happen. Another thing that I'm sure, because at first I was kind of scared because Reiju was telling him, you need to leave. You need to be out of here before the wedding starts. So I was kind of scared that we were going to leave Whole Cake Island before the wedding even took place. Because the truth of the matter is that you can't have a wedding without the groom. If Sanji's not there, I mean, it just fucks everything up. So, and I know for a fact, I know for a fact, Sanji is not leaving Reiju there to die. He's too much of a gentleman. That's been established. That's been an essential part of Sanji's character since day one. So I'm pretty sure that Sanji, and Luffy for that matter, will not leave Whole Cake Island until they can guarantee Reiju's safety to the best of their ability. And if not, then fuck it. They're just going to have to take her with them. You know what I mean? Another thing is that we know the cuffs won't explode, so I think it's in their best interest to keep pretending like Sanji is cuffed and he can't move, because if he's going to start attacking people, it's better if he has the element of surprise. So they can still think that you can't do anything if you're cuffed, and then they lower their guard, and then that's when Sanji can just start kicking some ass if he wants to, or if he has to make an opening for them to escape. Another thing, the Baratie situation is a lot less imminent now, because it's like Reiju specifically tells Sanji, you should worry about the Baratie after you leave. And to me that means that despite the fact that the threat is there is a threat to Zeph's life, it's not immediate. So there might be a cushion of time where you can get out and deal with that threat later, although it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But that's kind of like the thing that I thought, really, like that's like Reiju really made it seem as like, okay, that's not a priority right now, Sanji. The priority is for you and your friends to get the fuck out of here. It also kind of looks like Smoothie is abandoning her post from guarding the door, which may create an opening for Brook to escape. Granted, he is up against a Yonko, so him escaping doesn't really make a lot of sense. And I know I read some comments of people saying, why the fuck is Brook even able to stand up against Big Mom? It makes no sense. Power scale wise, it makes no sense. Despite the fact that, their powers are kind of like soul based. Like, I mean, Big Mom should have hockey enough, strong enough to knock Brook out, even destroy him, kill him. But that's the thing. You have to remember, Big Mom does not want to kill Brook. Like she said, she was interested in him as a collector's item to put in the books. And speaking of the books, this is something I also said, like the book that Nami and Luffy were being kept in burns, and we see a shit ton of prisoners come out of there. Unfortunately, there are a bunch of unknown faces. I was actually expecting some of them to be like, or at least one to be like somebody that we knew, that we had been introduced to prior in the series, but that was not the case. But there's still a shit ton of books with prisoners to be released. So if Mont Dior gets knocked out, I'm pretty sure the effect is going to run out and the prisoners are going to run wild. And that this chapter kind of like supports that theory even more. And that's where Nami gets her dress from, her new clothes. She sees the prisoner and just, she was looking very, very sexy, by the way. I'm not going to lie, it kind of did remind me of something that would happen normally in Fairy Tail, like the way her clothes were like teared up and stuff. Another thing that I saw in this chapter is that I think we get a pretty good full body shot of Jinbei, and again, he's not missing any limbs. So I'm not really sure what happened to the roulette or to the consequences of the roulette, but I think at this point, like the closest thing, like the most logical thing would be that he lost some years of life, or maybe he didn't lose anything, I don't know. But anyway, I was just rereading the panel with Smoothie, And it doesn't seem like she's completely abandoning her post. She's basically just telling that dude, hey, I need you to block the entrance up to the 4th floor. You know, take care of the shit that is going down in level 3. Don't let those fuckers up. And she actually says, fine, I give you permission to kill them. Now, with this in mind, I think this is a huge clue. Let me tell you what I think is going to happen, because I'm kind of getting excited thinking about it. All right, Smoothie tells this dude, I give you permission. Just go. All right? And we know for a fact that Big Mom knows that Luffy is not weak. We know that Big Mom knows that Luffy is not a pushover. That's why she specifically sent Commander Cracker to the Seducing Woods to stop Luffy. Therefore, if Big Mom knows Luffy's power level, or his strength, I'm pretty sure that Smoothie is in the know that Luffy's pretty strong as well. So she wouldn't be telling this guy, I don't care, you can kill him, it's okay, all right? Unless she actually could back that up. And as I read this part the second time, it doesn't seem like Smoothie is leaving her position. It's more about just her giving the order. But she can't, if she's not going to be the one to stop Luffy, either there's 2 options. Either they send in the entire army again, or bring in Commander Katakuri. Bring in Commander Starch, the doors open, and he is revealed finally, and he's the one that Luffy's going to have to fight and deal with in the 3rd level. And the reason why she said Mom cannot find out about this is because if she does, she's going to go on a rampage. It'll fuck up everything. Red alert, release Commander Katakuri. Overall, the chapter was pretty decent, but I'm actually more curious about whether or not the fandom will be satisfied with the explanation about like Sanji's mom and the siblings and all that stuff. So please let me know what you thought about it down below. Anything about the chapter, it's cool. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you did, subscribe if you haven't. Catch you guys later. Thanks.